Today, we're going to start with a quote from Albert Einstein. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. We're going live. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Getting ready to go live here. And I look at the camera and there's a big hard water stain on my shirt right here. I'm like, I can't go live like that. So I had to run out real quick, take that shirt off, spray some spray and wash on that, get a different shirt on, get back in here, start the show. Because that's what we do. Guys, it's Wednesday, and it is Woo Woo Wednesday. Now, for the next few weeks, we're going to be doing Woo Woo Wednesday a little bit different. Instead of focusing on the law of attraction or Hermetic philosophy or religion, we are going to focus on paradigms. Because at the end of the day, what we're really doing with law of attraction is reprogramming our paradigms, right? I like to say it's NLP disguised as mysticism. For you guys that don't like that chick crack. Okay. Well, so that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. And the way we're going to be doing that is since my new book, The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, where is this? It's a really long name. Thor. Oh, that's not it. Let's see. This is it. My new book, The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm. It's all about paradigms, what they are, how they work, how they control your results in life, how they control how you show up in life. And they control your results. So the book talks about how to identify paradigms that are not serving you and how to reprogram them. So over the next couple of weeks, we're just going to go chapter by chapter and talk about the different concepts in it. I highly recommend that you get the book. If you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, you can get it in paperback and hardcover. The Audible version is slowly being worked on. I'm up to chapter 3 in the recordings. I was hoping to get to chapter 4 last night, but yesterday was insane for me, so I couldn't do that. But we're working on it. So if you prefer the audiobook version, just stand by. But paperback and hardcovers and the Kindle edition are out now. So we're going to go through chapter 1 today, which is on understanding paradigms. But before we get into that, do like, subscribe, and hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, don't you know? If you are watching live right now, sound off in the live chat. I like interacting with you guys. That helps these go by much smoother. If you guys are watching the replay, drop a comment below. If you guys are listening on Spotify, drop a comment as well. All that kind of stuff boosts us in the algorithm. And for the love of God, send some super chats, okay? That helps support the show probably more than anything else. I know you guys can afford it. Y'all have $500 to be spending on these girls that don't do anything. They call people bundles of sticks, right? they call people, she calls people English cigarettes. And so people send her $500 super chat. I'm actually giving you actionable information that can change your life for the better. So at least you could do is send a ducat or two. And do consider becoming a YouTube channel member or a paid subscriber on Spotify. Those things really help support the show as well. All these episodes are free for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, you have to become either a YouTube channel member or a Spotify subscriber to listen to the past episodes. And if you become a YouTube channel member, you get access to my live streams on Tuesdays where you can actually call in. We had one last night. It was pretty good. We actually had a few people call in. And then you can listen to those on replay on Spotify if you're a member as well. And then, but on YouTube, you also get a free audiobook version of the Book of Puck narrated by my good friend Jack. You can find that once you become a channel member. If you go to the community page on my channel and scroll down, there's a members only post there with a link to that. But if you can't find it, just DM me or something and just let me know, hey, I became a channel member. I can't find that link. I'll hook you up. Let me play a commercial for the channel membership, and then we'll start talking about this chapter. Every single hour, men struggle in silence. Men who are facing rejection, confusion, and the pain of feeling lost in relationships. Thousands of men have found the support they needed, but for many others, help comes too late. Hi, I'm Paul Bauer. Will you be a supporter for men in need? Every day, men like you face challenges of dating, holding frame, and breaking free from nice guy syndrome. But you don't have to face these struggles alone. For just $2.99 a month, that's only 10 cents a day. You can join my YouTube membership or become a Spotify subscriber, and you can help keep this podcast alive. Your support ensures that I can continue to create content that helps men. Men just like you. I can continue to help men overcome these challenges. By joining now, you're not just getting access to all older archived episodes. You're helping me keep this mission going. Together, we can reach more men who need help, guidance, and support. Right now, there's a man who needs you, and your membership says, I'm here to help. Please join today. Your support is making a difference. It is making a difference. And speaking of which, we have a new member. Donger became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, sir. And because it's Woo Woo Wednesday, I'm going to give you this one. Magic. Yes, indeed, magic. And we're not at the 8-minute mark. I'm gonna hit Brother Nathan's super chat here after the 8-minute mark, because he not only is a YouTube channel member, but he's also a beer club brother, and so he gets the 20. He automatically gets bumped up to the $20 super chat video for sending that. So let me. Where is this here? All right. What do we got? We got a bunch of guys in the chat this morning. Brother Nathan says, "Sup, beer club." Phil says, "Hoorah!" Devil dog. Nurse Chick says, "Good morning, chat. Happy hump day." And Nathan says, "Let's talk about that a-hole Nathan in beer club." We are going to talk about that a-hole Nathan in beer club today. In a good way, though. In a good way. Let's see here. And then Omega says, "Morning. Got to get myself together for an in-person meeting today, but lurking during the show." And then he also comes back and he says, "Out of my meeting now." Well, good timing, because I was 3 minutes late. And then CW says, "What's up, gents?" And Nurse Chick, woo woo time. Oh my God, look at this. Mr. Wrong's in the house. He says, at the 8-minute mark, you can say bollocks. We can actually be adults after the 8-minute mark, guys. All right, so let's get to these top 10 concepts, okay? I'm not going to read my chapters to you because I want you to get the book, all right? But we'll go through the top 10 concepts of chapter 1 today. So the first concept is the definition of a paradigm, because chapter 1 is understanding paradigms. I'm not talking about two dimes, right? Why is 2 dimes better than a quarter? Because if you have a good pair of dimes, no, I'm just kidding. Thor told me a joke like that the other day. I was like, that's terrible, Thor. So the definition of a paradigm, right? So paradigms are you can also think of them as mental models. Ryan Stone talks about mental models a lot, right? A paradigm is essentially a mental framework or model that shapes how we interpret and respond to the world. The way I describe it in the book is that your paradigms are nothing more than a series of habits or programs that your mind runs, your subconscious mind runs automatically without you even thinking about it. It's something like 95% of the things we do on a daily basis, we do without any conscious thought. And that's all ran by our paradigms. They're just programs that run, and we don't have to think about it, right? There's a subconscious influence to it. Paradigms operate largely on a subconscious level, driving our thoughts, behaviors, and decisions without even realizing it. So it's on the subconscious level. And I talk about it. We'll talk about it next week in chapter 2 on the subconscious mind. But it's funny because so Clary read my first book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. And the first chapter is on law of attraction. And it's all about, that's the same thing. It's about paradigms, right? But Clary's like, He's like, no, Paul, like I get my work done around my house because conscious clarity does the work. It's conscious clarity says I need to do the work around my house. And I'm here to say that the reason why conscious clarity is such a hard worker is because he's got a paradigm that says he needs to do the work. Right? He's got a paradigm that says hard work and you got to do work around the house. You got to be able to pour your own concrete if you're going to be a real man. That's a paradigm in Clary's subconscious mind that runs without him even thinking about it. So all that kind of stuff is ran by your subconscious. Now, they could be empowering, right? Like him being a hard worker is a good thing. So there's nothing wrong with that. Like, don't change that paradigm. That's good. But there's certain paradigms that are going to hold you back in life. And the way you identify those is if you go to do something that you know would benefit you. Like, let's say you know that you could invest some money in Bitcoin, right? And you know that over the last 10 years or so, Bitcoin has done nothing but go up. But your paradigm says, oh, I'm afraid to lose all this money. So you don't invest in it, right? But you're also not capitalizing on a investment opportunity that's in the long run probably going to make you a lot of money, right? That's your paradigm holding you back. When you go to do it, your mind's screaming at you, don't do this. We can't afford this, right? That's your paradigm telling you to stay where you're at. You see how that controls your actions and your results. Paradigms also act as a filter of perception, right? So just like wearing tinted glasses, paradigms control how we perceive reality, influencing everything from relationships to career choices. Talking about brother Nathan here, where he was like that a-hole Nathan. Where did he say we're going to talk about that a-hole Nathan in Beer Club? Where is it? Where is it at? There it is. Let's talk about that a-hole Nathan at Beer Club. So yesterday we had this interesting conversation. One of the Beer Club brothers, he tends to post sometimes negative things in there. And one of the things he was talking about was that he doesn't like dating apps because on dating apps, all he finds are the same trash women, right? All women are trash and not worth his time. Right. Well, brother Nathan and we both have a different mental model and paradigm of dating apps. We look at dating apps as an abundant opportunity to meet lots of great women. Right. Yeah, sure. There's lots of trash women on dating apps, but you can filter those out pretty easy. If you guys didn't know, I have a whole course on it. I have a whole course on how to get better results from your dating apps. Right. And if I could learn how to do that in the middle of cow country, in the middle of nowhere, you could do that in the middle of New York City. Okay. So we have a different paradigm, right? How we perceive the dating app is totally different than this guy. This guy looks at it like a complete wasted opportunity. They're all trash women on dating apps. I used to think the same thing. When I first got back out on the dating circuit, after my marriage, I used to think that the dating pool around here is very shallow. There's never any good women on dating apps. And then when I broke up with Red Pill Chick and found myself back on the dating circuit, I thought the same thing, right? Oh, the dating pool's shallow out here. I never find any good women on dating apps. But then when I actively changed my mind about it and said, nope, there are good women on dating apps. There's always new women showing up on dating apps. There's hot women on dating apps. I started telling myself this. I started seeing more of them, right? It's like they magically started showing up on the dating apps. It was weird, right? But it wasn't that they weren't there. It was that my paradigm was keeping me from perceiving these women, right? So I was like, oh, they're all trash women. And so I didn't get a lot of dates. Changed my mindset about it. Oh, no, there's lots of great women on dating apps. Started getting tons of dates. It was weird. But it's not magic, right? It's all your paradigm is filtering this type of stuff out. So one of the things that brother Nathan brought up yesterday was that we get what we focus on in life, right? We get what we focus on in life. So if you're focused on that, you're only going to see trash women. Well, that's all that's going to show up for you. Everywhere you look, all the women are going to be trash. All the women are not going to be worth your time, right? But if you change your mindset about it and go, no, there's lots of good women out there. There's lots of good women out there still. You're going to start seeing more of these women. You're going to allow yourself the opportunity to possibly actually meet some of these women. It's going to be weird, right? But it's all up here. It all starts up here. And so anyway, they were going back and forth about, and the guy's like, no, that's just how it is. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. And so there's actually a section of my book where it says, you're just going to think this is the way things are, right? If your paradigm says that there's nothing but trash women out there, you're going to think that's just the way things are. No, that's reality. But your reality starts up here. Your perception creates your reality, not the other way around. Isn't that weird? It's so weird. The next concept is psychological and behavioral frameworks, right? So the psychological aspect. So paradigms act as cognitive structures that influence how we process information, whether we view situations positively or negatively. So going back to all the women are trash. That's our influence. That's our subconscious mind pointing that stuff out. There's a feature in our subconscious, right? Or there's a feature in our brain, I should just say, that we call it the reticular activating system, where your mind focuses on things that you think is important. Now, your brain can't tell, your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between positive and negative. Okay. So no matter what you tell yourself the most, all it sees is like it only sees the one aspect, doesn't see good or bad, right? So if you say, a good example is I want to get out of debt. I want to get out of debt. I want to get out of debt, right? Getting out of debt is a positive thing, but all your mind hears is debt, 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 and you're going to stay in debt. You're never going to get out of it. It's weird, okay? But that's how our minds work. So that filter could be positive or negative, right? So that this particular gentleman in Beer Club, his filter is in a negative light towards women. And so he tends to not see that many great women out there. A lot of guys that find their way to the red pill space have that mentality. A lot of guys have been burned. That's why a lot of people go, who hurt you, bro? Who hurt you? Right. Well, it's like, well, that's a dumbass question because all of us have been hurt at some point. But you can either let that hold you back, or you can use it as a growth opportunity to see how you can have a better mindset, for one. And then two, how you can better understand women's nature and hypergamy and how to use things to your advantage, right? You either look at it like, oh, hypergamy is this evil thing, or you look at it like, oh, well, now I know how it works. I can strategize. You know what I mean? Losers always figure out why they can't do certain things, but winners go home and fuck the prom queen. You understand? Okay. You guys get it. Okay, brother, we got 2 super chats here. Let me get these. Both these guys are both YouTube members and YouTube members and Beer Club members. So we'll get Brother Nathan first. He says Beer Club supports the show. It does support the show, and we're gonna give him this one. Super chat, we see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Send it love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest. Man, how do those shorts stay on? That's what I want to know. Mr. Wrong says, how much money does a trash woman make a year? I want a girl that works in sanitation. Oh, man. All right. So we have psychological and behavioral frameworks, right? So we talked about the psychological aspect, behavioral patterns, right? Paradigms manifest behaviorally through automatic habits and routines that guide much of our daily life. So one of the things I talk about in the book is how a lot of what we do on a daily basis is habit-based, right? We don't realize that we're even doing it. When you get up in the morning, one of the examples I give in the book is when you get up in the morning, you don't think about how you're going to brush your teeth. You just sort of get up. Actually, I talk about in the book too. If you have to hit the snooze alarm like 5 times, like I do, before you roll out of bed and drag yourself to the bathroom, like that's a paradigm. That's a habit that you've developed over time. It's one of the reasons why Jordan Peterson talks about starting your day with like making your bed and all that kind of stuff, because that develops a habit of knocking things off your list through the day, right? That's all about, that's an aspect of reprogramming your paradigm. Now, one can argue that making your bed in the morning is not going to change your whole day, and it's kind of a dumb thing to say, but that is a part of your paradigm. If you make that a habit where you just get up and without thinking about it, you start making the bed, that becomes ingrained as a paradigm in your head, right? Well, same thing with hitting the snooze alarm 5 times before dragging yourself out of bed. And then when you go to brush your teeth, that's a habit too. You don't consciously go, I'm going to brush my teeth in circles and I'm going to go over here now. You just do it, right? Like most people aren't consciously thinking about brushing their teeth, right? And the same thing happens with your interactions with women. If you have a negative mindset when it comes to women, you're behaviorally going to act weird around women, right? You're either going to be grumpy with them, you're going to have an attitude problem with them, and you're going to repulse them. They're not going to like you if you're an ass to them all the time. Oh, but I thought women like jerks. Yeah. Some of you guys, like, okay, let's say that's true. They do like jerks. And if you're getting lots of tail, then by all means keep doing that. Okay. But if you're finding that you can't find any good women, they're all trash women, and then you're not getting that many dates and you're just not getting where you want with women, you might want to reevaluate that. Right. We have automatic reactions, right? Many of our behaviors happen on autopilot because of our deeply ingrained paradigms that don't require conscious thought. One of the examples I give in the book is it's like you're on an airplane, right? And if your paradigms aren't serving you correctly, it's like getting on a plane and expecting to go to California, but somehow you show up in like Michigan, right? Because your paradigm steered you towards Michigan instead of going to California. And then when you get there, you're like, this isn't where I want to be, but that's how our actions throughout our lives tend to be when we have paradigms that don't lead us in the right direction where we want to go. We're not getting the results we want. And those paradigms, the subconscious programming controls our results because it controls our actions. It's not magic, one of the things that's happened recently is I had a couple of meetings with a business coach, and he was telling me, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And one of the things I noticed, this is one of the ways you notice that paradigms aren't serving you well. Like I consciously know that doing what he tells me to do will get me better results. But in my head, I've got these voices screaming at me, right? Going, oh, you can't do that, or you don't want to do that. That doesn't sound fun for you. That sounds like a lot of work, or whatever, right? All these kinds of things. Well, that's my ego protection layer trying to keep my paradigm where it's at, right? Doesn't want me to change, doesn't want me to make changes. That's how you know that you have a paradigm that isn't serving you. So I have to actively try to reprogram that now, you see. Another way that another good example of automatic reactions is when you're driving in your car, right? You're driving in your car and you get in the car in the morning, you have your cup of coffee, and then next thing you know, you're at work and you have no idea how you got there. All right. Almost everyone's had that experience where they've been driving and it's like a place that they've gone 100 times or whatever. You don't even think about it. You just show up there and you're like, how the hell did I get here? How did I get here safely? That's your subconscious mind running a program to get you there because it's done that a million times. Another example I talk about is it's another driving example. When you first learn to drive a car, you have to consciously think about checking your mirrors, about, listening for the engine, about, you got to have the clutch pressure just right as you're, you got to pull the clutch off just as you're hitting the gas just right, and all that kind of stuff. You're consciously thinking about these things, shifting gears, turning your blinker on. You're consciously thinking about this stuff until you do it enough to where you just drive now. Like, you just get in your car and drive. You don't think about all the, listening to the engine and changing gears. Like, you just automatically do it, right? It becomes muscle memory. That muscle memory is a paradigm running a program. Fascinating stuff, right? Fascinating stuff. Guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on my email list.comeonmanpod.com. You could get my new ebook, She's Made You Weak. It's only about 11 pages long. But if you're having relationship issues right now, maybe you're in a dead bedroom, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. She's lost attraction. She's lost respect for you. And that's because we don't even realize it, but she's running a program herself, and it all comes from her evolutionary psychology, and that creates it sort of betatizes you over time, and that betatization process makes you less and less attractive in her eyes. And that's where you end up in a spot where you've been married for 15 years, and she says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, right? It's all because of this program that's being ran on you, and neither you or she are even really consciously aware of it. So I highly recommend, if that's your situation right now, you get the ebook. Go to list.comeonmanpod.com and get that ebook. I'll also send you a bunch of free stickers. You get, if you guys are still out dating, get the 20 dating app openers. And then there's also a free chapter of my first book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, which you could get at books.comeonmanpod.com. It's available in Audible, Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. And then my new book is now out in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover as well. That one is The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence Psychology Paradigm, which is what we're talking about today. So let me play a commercial for that book if you didn't know that it was available, and then we'll get back to this chapter. Have you ever felt like something's holding you back in your relationships? Like you're always on the back foot, struggling to connect with women? You're not alone. Many men are taught to be weak, to defer, to play small around women by their upbringing, by society, by the very world that shaped them. But what if you could break free from the invisible chains that have held you back? What if you could rewrite the script, reprogram the paradigm that's been running your life? This is your chance to step into the man you were always meant to be. In The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence Psychology Paradigm by Paul Bauer, the first book in R.P. Thor's groundbreaking series, you'll learn how to understand and transform the paradigms that have shaped your life. You'll discover how to develop a dominant masculine presence, one that commands respect, inspires trust, and brings fulfillment to your relationships. Don't wait for life to change on its own. Take control. Order your copy of The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence Psychology Paradigm now on Amazon. Available in hardcover, paperback, or on Kindle. This is more than a book. It's your roadmap to a life of purpose, strength, and success. Make the decision today. Reprogram your life and step into the man you were meant to be. Yes, the link's in the chat, guys, if you want to check out that book. And then we got Brother CW here, also sent a $2 super chat, and he is a Beer Club member and a YouTube member. He says, woo, looking forward to the meetup tomorrow. Yes, our next Beer Club Hangouts tomorrow night. If you guys want to check that out, join Beer Club now with a free trial. Show up to the meeting tomorrow night. And then if you like it, stay in the group. If you don't, well, cancel before you get billed. No harm, no foul. Let me play you the $20 super chat video because you're a double member.
Super chat will see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Sending love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest.
Yeah. Omega says the hardcover copy is dope. Good. I'm glad you like it. The hardcover copy is actually less expensive than the hardcover for my first book, because my first book, I have actually colored, diagrams and charts and stuff, especially in the Anyone Can Be Rich section. And so I wanted to use colored paper, and their colored paper for the hardcover books makes it like outrageously expensive. But Thor's book, there's no colored charts in there. So I just did plain black and white paper, and so it's actually more affordable. So it's only like $8 more to get the hardcover edition. All right, the next a Pringles can with veins says just got back from Colombia, and that's all I saw. Oh, you saw the jiggling booty? Yeah. All right. So the next concept here is influence of childhood and social conditioning. So this is a cool part of the book. So our paradigms begin forming in childhood, which is influenced by our parents, caregivers, and in the environment we grew up in. So I have these, if you get the Audible edition when it comes out, you're not going to be able to see this, but I reference it in the audiobook edition. But if you get the paperback or hardcover, you can see these awesome stick figures that I drew. And it explains how when you're a child, you're basically just a walking subconscious mind. Right? You're programmed when you're first born with your DNA, right? Your genetic programming. But then once you're born into the world, all the rest of your programming comes from your surroundings, from your parents, from the people around you, from the television shows that you watch, Sesame Street, all that stuff. You're a walking subconscious mind. So you don't have really the ability to have conscious thought yet. So everything's just going directly into your subconscious, and it's creating these programs. So a lot of your programs are from your upbringing. And then at a certain age, you develop this psychic barrier that protects that paradigm. And then you start developing a conscious, you start developing a conscious mind. And then you're getting all these programs in from your five senses, right? Your taste, touch, hearing, smell, all that kind of stuff, right? Vision, all that kind of stuff's going into your mind. And what happens is you can think any kind of thoughts that you want to think, but what tends to happen is that you're only going to accept things that are in harmony with the paradigm. Right. So you could, and one of the examples I talk about in the book is that you could know that anybody could be rich. Right. Like I said, in my first book, I have a chapter on this. Anybody can be rich. If you learn how to manage your money properly, anybody can be rich. And you might go, well, yeah, I mean, there's lots of rags to riches stories out there. I suppose that's probably true, but it's not true for me. Right. Because if you were raised with a paradigm that money's hard to get, you're grinding away, you never make enough money, you're always living paycheck to paycheck. If your parents were like that, a lot of times you're probably like that too, because they didn't understand money, they didn't understand wealth, they didn't understand how to build it, and they've passed those thoughts on to you, right? Oh, we can't buy that bike, we can't afford that, right? You've probably heard that a lot growing up. You probably say that a lot. And so I might tell you anybody can be rich, and you could be like, well, that's true for those other guys, but not for me. There's something different about those guys. Yeah, well, what's different is they have a different paradigm. They have a different paradigm, right? So your ego protection layer is rejecting this idea because it goes against your paradigm. And so you stay in poverty. You stay living paycheck to paycheck. You understand? All that kind of stuff starts when you're a kid. So you have your cultural and social conditioning. I talk about beliefs and values of the culture we're raised in. One of the examples I give is that you could be born in Michigan to a Catholic family, and then if you were adopted as an infant and taken to Saudi Arabia and raised as a Muslim there, you would be raised with a completely different paradigm than you would have been if you were raised with a Catholic family in Michigan. You would have a different religion, you'd have a different language, you would have a completely different culture, and all that would change your worldview, like drastically, right? But that's all because of your surroundings. My professional podcaster over here is doing have you ever had a dog that does the reverse sneezing? My dog does that. And then you have impact of experiences, right? Both positive and negative experiences shape paradigms, determining how we approach challenges in relationships in adulthood. So going back to the example I was talking about at the beginning of the show, where the conversation we had at Beer Club, this is where a lot of people, a lot of women go, "Who hurt you, bro? Who hurt you?" It's because a lot of times we've had negative experiences in past relationships, and we've allowed that to shape our worldview when it comes to relationships, right? So a lot of MGTOW guys, they got burned, usually in probably a really nasty divorce. There's a lot of MGTOW guys that have never even had a girlfriend, though. Like they've just never been that attractive to women. They've never understood how to talk to women, and so now they just hate all women because they've always just been shot down so many times. But there's a lot of guys in the MGTOW space that they had a negative experience with women, and they've allowed that to completely shape their worldview when it comes to women. And then they go, and what they'll do is they'll go and seek out other shows that just confirms that negativity, right? So they'll watch shows, like Hammerhand, or Sandman, or Better Bachelor. They'll watch those shows, and those shows just keep you where you're at. They don't do anything to get you out of that mindset. They don't tell you how to have success with women. They tell you just give up, just quit, be a quitter, right? I love Clary, but Clary, a lot of Clary's content is kind of negative. He has the Book of Numbers, which is a really good book. But a lot of the MGTOW guys have sort of adopted that as like the MGTOW Bible, and they look at it as reasons why you shouldn't even try pursuing women. Because Clary breaks down the numbers of the return on investment when pursuing women. And he basically argues that there's no good return on investment, right? It's negative as hell. What a negative paradigm. And so then people look at that stuff and go, yeah, all these women are trash out here. And they use that. And that's confirmation bias, right? But if you have a different paradigm, you can look at that and go, look at all the numbers and how many trash women are out there. And you could say, okay. And you could look at like the statistics that, 80% of guys are invisible to women, and most women don't look at them. You can say, okay, but I'm not one of those 80%. That doesn't apply to me. Right? That's just a different way to look at things. That doesn't apply to me. That applies to losers. I'm not a loser, right? That's a paradigm. That's a positive paradigm that will get you further with women. Do you understand? So that talks about that's impact and experiences. So you can have a negative experience and you can look at it like I'm going to quit, or you can look at it like a growth opportunity, right? It's just how you look at it. The roles of beliefs. So core beliefs shape paradigms. So our belief systems, especially about self-worth and success, serve as a foundation for our paradigms. And a lot of that stuff too, it leads to self-fulfilling prophecies, which is the next one here, right? What we believe about ourselves, whether we're capable, worthy or not, directly influences the actions we take and the results we get, right? So you could, going back to the trash women thing, you can look at like all these women are trash out here. And so you're going to act in a way where you're going to probably treat women poorly because you think that they're all trash. And then they're going to treat you bad back, right? Because no one likes to be treated like trash. And then you're going to go, see what I'm talking about? These women are trash. Right? Or you could say, no, there's good women out there. There's good women out there. And then you're going to treat women pleasantly. And then these women are going to go, oh, this guy's an interesting guy. And then they're going to put investment in. They're going to want to do nice things for you. And then you're going to go, oh, you know what? She's trying to do nice things for me. Let her do nice things for me. And then you'll find that women like doing nice things for guys that they're interested in. And if you just fucking let them, they actually get really invested because you're allowing them to serve you. And women want to serve men that they're into. But a lot of us are programmed in a way where we don't let them. Right. I could do that myself. Right. A lot of MGTOW guys are like that. Oh, I could cook and clean myself. I don't need a woman to do that. Yeah, you probably don't need to. You probably don't need a woman to do that. Just as she doesn't need a man to provide for her. Right. But that's not the point. That's not the fucking point of a relationship. Okay. So I don't need Nurse Chick to come over here and grab my laundry and take it down to her house and wash it and bring it back fluff and folded. But she does it anyway because she loves me and she wants to be a net positive in my life. And so I let her. She came over here Friday when I was on my road trip and grabbed my laundry and took it down to her house. And so when I came by Saturday to go pick up my dog from her house, all my laundry was done. I was like, what this woman. But if you don't allow that kind of stuff to happen because your negative paradigm, you're never going to find someone like that. You understand? Which leads into beliefs and decision making, right? Our core beliefs act as filters, which guides our decisions, the decisions we make, and consciously without even thinking about it. So if you have this negative idea of women, you're going to unconsciously just not let women serve you that want to serve you. You understand? All right. Oh, we have brother Ed sent a $5 super chat. He's a double member. What does it say? Quit chat between clients. Look forward to watching oh, I see. You're in between clients right now. You're looking forward to watching uninterrupted later. Got it. Okay, I understand. I'm going to give you a $10 super chat or the $20 super chat video.
Super chat, we'll see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Send it love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest.
How does she even get those shorts on? Like that's the question I have. So all the guys today that have sent super chats, they're all members of Beer Club and they're also YouTube members. That's why they get the $20 super chat video. Our meetup is tomorrow night. Our next meetup is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it's a good group of dudes, good place to swap notes. It's a good community of like-minded guys. And, if you're having any kind of problems in life, it's good for men to connect with other men to help solve those problems because your girl's not it, right? A lot of guys, they have no friends outside their marriage. And so any kind of problems they have, they dump on their girl. And that's not what your girl's for. Okay. Bring it to the boys. And it's only $10 a month. And that helps support the show. And it's just, you get a lot of net value out of it. We've got 3 guys in there that have lost considerable amounts of weight because they're holding each other accountable. One guy's cured himself of type 2 diabetes. Freaking amazing. Another guy in there, his A1C level has been at a healthy level for a long time too. His testosterone levels are in the 1900 range. Crazy. I'm like, easy there, Lou Ferrigno. Because we talk about stuff like that. We talk about testosterone. We talk about everything in there. One of the things we were talking about was Nancy Friday's book this morning. One of the guys was like, Paul, you're a prude if you didn't like that book. I'm like, there's dog pill stuff in there, bro. There's like child molestation stuff in there. No, I don't need to listen to that. Women are dirty birdies. All right. We have empowering versus limiting paradigms. So empowering paradigms drive success, right? Positive, growth-oriented paradigms motivate us to take risks, seek opportunities, and push beyond comfort zones. And that's what a lot of what's holding us back in life is because we have negative paradigms. We have disempowering paradigms that tell us why we can't do things. If you find yourself talking about why you can't do things all the time, that's a negative paradigm that's holding you back. We had last month, at the beer club hangout, we had a brother, one of our brothers up in Canada, was talking about how he's going through electrician school. I think he's almost done. I think he's almost a certified electrician, and he's doing a lot of freelance work right now. And his girl's telling him that he's not charging enough, and he's sort of nickeling and diming himself. And but his paradigm says he can't charge more, so he's making all these breaks and deals for people. And so we looked it up while we're on the call, and we're like, well, this is what electricians typically make per hour in your area. So you need to at least be charging that to be competitive. And he's like, yeah, but I can't. And I'm like, all I'm hearing is why you can't, bro. That's a paradigm talking. That's a disempowering paradigm that holds you where you're at, right? That's a limiting paradigm that holds us back, right? So negative paradigms such as beliefs about unworthiness or scarcity limit our potential by reinforcing fear and self-doubt. So him being afraid of charging more is probably because he's like, oh, people won't pay that. People won't pay that. And so he doesn't charge that. But that's what he's worth. His expertise as an electrician, people are willing to pay that, you see. Especially if everyone else around you is charging that much, you need to at least be competitive and charge that much, you see. And then we talk about awareness of limitations, right? Recognizing when paradigms are limiting is the first step in shifting an empowering mindset, or shifting to an empowering mindset that fosters personal growth. And that's the hard thing, because we don't know what we don't know. We don't necessarily realize why we're not getting the results in our life, because it's all unconscious. Our actions are unconscious. We don't even realize why we're not getting the results that we want. The reason why is because of your paradigm. And so one of the first things you need to do is actively think about, what do I want? What do I actually want? Right? And so once you sit down and figure that out, now you can start thinking about, well, why can't I do it? Right? Like, why can't I do it? And then once you come up with all the reasons why you can't, you need to reverse all those and start thinking about why you can do something, right? Coming up with ideas why you can. And that's really where your limiting beliefs are going to come into play, because that's where your brain's going to start screaming at you. You can't do that. You can't do that. And when you start, if you actually listen to those voices in your head saying that, you're going to stay where you're at. So you've got to shake those out and go, nope, that's a limiting paradigm. I've got to fix this, right? I've got to change this. Another concept is paradigms as mental filters. We've talked about this a little bit, right? But you get a confirmation bias. So paradigms reinforce what we already believe by filtering out information that contradicts our worldview, a process known as confirmation bias. So, like, for instance, you could go watch Clary's channel, and he can give you a million reasons why women don't like us and women aren't that interested in men, and give you a million statistics on why, it's not worth your time to chase women. Or you can come to my channel and I'll tell you why none of that applies to you and how winners find a way to win, right? But if you actually believe the negative stuff about women, you're not going to listen to what I say. You're going to disregard what I say and focus on what Clary says, because that's going to confirm your mental bias already. That's going to confirm your paradigm, right? So you're just going to keep getting more of the same, right? Which maybe you don't like women and, all that much to begin with, and that's fine for you, okay? But if you find yourself lonely at night, wishing you could find a good woman, but you can't seem to find them because you think all women are trash because you keep watching Clary's stuff, that's just going to confirm that bias. Okay. So you've got to you've got to start looking at alternatives. You got to start looking at things that will serve you better. Okay. I mean, if you want to be lonely for the rest of your life, like that's fine. Like, that's a choice. Like some guys actually are happy that way, right? There are real MGTOW guys that actually go their own way, and they're not online bitching about women. But most of the MGTOW guys out there are in the comments going, I'm just happy being single, bro. If you're really happy being single, you would have to tell people that. you would just be happy being single. You would be living your best life, playing video games and, doing whatever you do. But no, you're on the internet looking for stuff to argue with other people about and why women are trash, right? You're not happy. You're not happy there. Okay. So you gotta stop the confirmation bias. You gotta stop looking at this negative content and start looking at content that might actually help you out. Now, Clary's a good friend of mine. He has a lot of good information, especially on economy and money and stuff like that. So, watch that stuff definitely. But his takes on women, he and I fundamentally disagree on that stuff. Fundamentally disagree. And that's okay. Still love the man. Shaping perception. So two people can see the same situation completely different depending on their paradigms, right? How highlighting how reality is filtered by our beliefs. So one of the examples I give in the book is a job loss, right? Someone might look at a job loss like it's the end of the world. Like, oh, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to survive? It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And they might go into depression and whatever. Or you can look at it like, well, I never liked that job anyway. I'm going to find a better job, right? This is an opportunity for me. Now that I'm not tied back by that job, I have plenty of time to get my resume in order and interview, right? I have time to go do that now. Because when you're like in a job that you kind of hate and you want to find another job, like sometimes getting time off work and getting your resume up to date, it's like another full-time job. So you don't do it. Well, now you have all the time in the world, right? You can look at it in a positive light or you can look at it in a negative light, right? Same opportunity, just a different viewpoint on it, right? Or I'm sorry, the same issue. The issue itself is neutral. It's just how the two different people look at it, right? End of the world or an opportunity. Paradigms shape our perception. So we talked about that. Misinterpretations and conflicts. So limiting paradigms can cause misunderstandings and conflicts, especially in relationships, because they distort our perceptions of others' actions and intentions. I'll give you an example. I don't talk about it in my book, but I'll give you an example of how that impacted me in my first marriage. Right. I used to, like, near the end of my marriage, I used to listen to Tom Likas. You guys ever listen to Tom Likas? He's a lot of people argue that he's the real godfather of Red Pill. Tom Likas' show is negative as fuck. All it does, like, he got married 7 times too. But all he does is talk about how women are gold diggers and you got to dump that bitch. And, all these women are after your money and all that kind of stuff, all this negative stuff. So a lot of the time I would come home with this negative mindset about my wife and how she was a gold digger. And that would shape my actions, right? That would cause conflicts because I was like, she's just using me for my money, right? And so that would actively alter the way I treated her. You see, it changed my perception of the relationship, completely changed my mindset about her. And we ended up divorced, right? Probably not the best thing. Although she was a gold digger. God damn it. Okay. But I don't have that kind of mindset with Nurse Chick. Nurse Chick isn't using me for my money. In fact, Nurse Chick pays for a lot of stuff. In fact, we're going on a trip next month. We're going to Phoenix. She booked the hotel and bought the plane tickets, like, Nurse Chick's not after my money. In fact, she's going to be my sugar mama. That's my 5-year plan. She's going to school right now to be a nurse practitioner. I'm like, sweet. Now I can retire because Nurse Chick is going to be my sugar mama. You see? Formation of paradigms through habit, right? Habit as a paradigm indicator. So the habits we develop, how we work, think, and act are outward manifestations of our internal paradigms. I talked about this already. Our paradigms are nothing more than a series of habits and beliefs, right, that we run as programs in our mind, which cause autopilot actions and then often creates feedback loops, right? So our actions from our paradigms reinforce the same paradigms, which creates a continuous loop of thought and behavior. That's why we always end up in bad like if you're a guy who's every relationship you've ever had is a bad relationship. And so you start having this negative mindset about women because all women are trash, all my past relationships. There's a reason for that. It's because your paradigm, when it comes to relationships, keeps you acting in a way to have negative relationships. And so then you have negative relationships, which just feeds back into that loop. So if your past patterns have all been the same and they've all been negative, it's because of one of your paradigms. It's because that's impacting your actions in those situations. So if you want to change your future results, you got to change how you think about things. And then we have changing paradigms requires conscious effort, right? So you got to recognize that you have a limiting paradigm. So the first step is becoming aware of it. And that's why I often say everything comes down to awareness, because most of us aren't even aware of this type of stuff. We just do it without even thinking. A lot of people just walk around like NPCs, right? They just tiptoe through life hoping they make it safely to death. They have no idea how they're getting to where they're getting, why they're getting the results they're getting. They just do, and they think that this is the way things are. It's not, okay? All that could be changed. But you first got to recognize that you have a limiting belief that's holding you back, okay? And a lot of that is by recognizing that the results you're getting are not the results you want. You only know that when you sit down and figure out what the fuck you want. Okay. And when you sit down and think about what you want and then start analyzing why you're not getting it, that will lead you back to recognizing unhelpful paradigms, right? So then once you recognize it and you're aware of it, now you got to challenge them, right? So you got to start shifting to, shifting a paradigm requires actively challenging the ingrained beliefs that no longer serve us. If you ever read Dating Essentials for Men, one of the things that one of the guys in there was talking about how he didn't want to go out alone at night because he thought people would look at him weird, right? He's like, oh, I can't go out to the beach alone. I can't go out to dinner alone. And so Dr. Glover goes, you need to go challenge that belief. Right? He's like, people will think I'm weird. He's like, you need to go challenge that belief. So the guy went out. He ended up having conversations with people all around him. No one gave a shit that he was out there alone. He ended up on the beach and he met a girl on the beach and they ended up spending the whole night together. And so he came back the next day to the retreat and was like, well, I guess I was wrong about that. He challenged that paradigm. The next concept is consistent action for change, right? So paradigms are changed through repetition and action, because that's how they were created in the first place. Your paradigms are created through repetition, lots of repetition, and usually some kind of emotional charge, right? So a lot of guys' negative viewpoints on women come from a very negative emotional experience, and so it's just seared into their subconscious mind. So if you want to change those types of beliefs, you have to change it through repetition and usually adding some kind of emotional element to it, right? But just as they were created with repetition, they're going to be recreated with repetition. The impact of paradigms on decision-making, a lot of this we've already talked about, right? Influences on choices. Paradigms shape how we make decisions by coloring our perception of available options and their likely outcomes. Like I said, one of the guys in Beer Club was talking about why he couldn't charge more for his services. He was just giving us a million reasons why he can't. All that is it's going to influence your choices. It's going to influence your options. And so you've got to knock that off. If you find yourself talking about why you can't do a bunch of things, you got to shake that off and go, no, let me think about how I can. How can I? Right? Because losers figure out why they can't. Winners go home and figure out how they can go home and fuck the prom queen. You understand? Red Tiger, $8 super chat. He says, most people are more afraid of success than failure. Yeah. And that's because of their paradigm. It is Woo Wednesday. And so I'm going to give you this. Magic. That's right. Magic. Let's see here. Risk and reward. So empowering paradigms encourage risk-taking and growth, while limiting paradigms lead to fear-based, safe decision-making that holds us back. That's when it comes to making money, right? Or investments. Investments can be risky, right? And a lot of times you might hear the greater the greater the risk, the greater the reward, right? Well, a lot of people won't take that risk because they're afraid that they're going to lose their money. And so they don't invest, and then they don't take advantage of an opportunity that might show up for them, you see. So if you have an empowering paradigm, you might have a different viewpoint on that. You're like, oh no, I'm willing to lose that money in order to make way more money, right? But a lot of times the investments that you find out there, stock market, real estate, that kind of stuff, it's a calculated risk. Like you're more likely to succeed than you are to fail at that, but there is still a possibility of failure, But if you are someone that has a mindset of success, and you're going to take that risk, and then you're going to reap the rewards of that sort of thing. You're going to, if you want to take investments out of it and look at how you can make more money in your career, someone who has the idea that I'm going to every 2 years find a new job will probably make more money faster than someone who's like, oh, I can't do that. I can't mess things up. I'm just going to stay where I'm at. I've got a good job right now. I've got a 401k, and then you're going to stay making $60,000 a year. But someone who's like, okay, because most places they'll give you, they might give you an annual raise, but it's like pennies. Your annual raise is pennies. But if you move out and go to another place, they're going to pay you more. Right? You can ask for more money. You can look at salary.com and see what other people are making in your area and ask for more money. Right? And if you go to your boss and ask for a raise, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to give it to you, or they're going to give you a nominal raise, because that's just how employers tend to operate. Right? When it comes to raises, they don't want to stay competitive. But when you quit, they're going to hire someone at that higher rate because they have to now. You understand? So you're going to, if you have the idea that I'm willing to take this risk and jump to a new job, you're probably going to make more money faster. You understand? Behavior patterns are decision-making habits, whether we go for bold choices or play it safe, are driven by our internal paradigms that can shape our long-term success. We've talked about a lot of that. Self-fulfilling prophecy and paradigm. We talked about this a lot too, right? But belief influences our outcomes, right? The belief we hold shapes our actions, which then create outcomes that reinforce those same beliefs, right? So that goes back to the feedback loop. Breaking negative cycles. By changing limiting paradigms, we can break the cycle of self-sabotage and create positive reinforcing feedback loops that lead to success. But it all comes back to being aware of it. Right? If you're not getting the results you want in life, that's because you have a paradigm that's holding you back. Right? So you got to figure out what that is, and you got to actively start working towards changing it. Over the next few weeks, we're going to get into it. As we go through the book, we're going to get into how we change these things, okay? And then empowering beliefs drive better results, right? When we shift to empowering paradigms, we take action that lead to greater success, which then reinforces our new positive belief systems, which creates a new positive feedback loop, right? All right. So that was chapter 1 in my book. Guys, if you haven't gotten the book yet, I highly recommend you get it. Let me see here. Where is this at? It's this one. Here we go. I'm going to drop a link to it in the chat here. If you guys haven't gotten the book yet, definitely check it out on Amazon right now. You can get it in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. It's a part of Thor's A Dominant Masculine, or The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series, based on his first book, A Dominant Masculine Presence. So if you guys haven't read Thor's first book, definitely get his book, read it. He talks about the 7 P's of a dominant masculine presence, and then all these books are going to be under those skills, the 7 P's. So check that out. That's all I got for this episode. Friday's episode is going to be a break from the Frame Friday format. At the moment, the plan is to have Nikki Ballou on to discuss his new book called Get Booked, Get Paid, which is all about using podcast hosts as prospects. Nikki is, he's also my business coach. So we might talk a little bit about that too. But if you want to get better at sales, learn more about entrepreneurship, you want to tune into the episode because Nikki's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to that sort of stuff. All right, that's all I got, guys. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanks for everyone that sounded off in the comments. That boosts us in the algorithm. If you guys are watching the replay, drop a comment below. Thanks for the super chats, guys. That supports the show probably more than anything else. Thank you to all my YouTube members. We're up to 15 now. We're trying to get to 20 by the end of the month. So if you haven't become a member yet, do consider becoming a member either on YouTube or become a Spotify subscriber. And then you get access to all the old episodes. And if you become a YouTube member, you get access to our Tuesday live streams for call-in show where you can actually call in and we can talk about different things that you're going through. And you also get a free audiobook version of the Book of Pook, which isn't available on Audible. So if you want to listen to that book, become a member. It's only $2.99 a month, right? It's like 10 cents a day. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list and get my new ebook, She's Made You Weak. If you go to list.comeonmanpod.com, you could get that. That talks about the betatization process and why if you're having relationship problems right now, this is why. This is the reason right here. Okay. And a lot of that is shaped by paradigm. Speaking of which, do get the new book. If you go to books.comeonmanpod.com, that'll take you to my Amazon authors page where you can get both my books, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18 and The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence Psychology Paradigm. Join the beer club. Our next meetup is tomorrow night. Go to beer.comeonmanpod.com for that. And then if you guys want to work with me directly, you go to coaching.comeonmanpod.com and you can book a call with me. Right now, that landing page is really geared towards guys that are having relationship problems. But if you need any kind of help reprogramming your paradigms, I can help you with that. You can book the call there too. I am a certified master NLP practitioner, and that's a lot of what NLP is. It's helping you reprogram some of those unhelpful paradigms in your life. Okay. So you can book a strategy session with me on that call. That's all I got. We will see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.